Our project is titled In Their Hands, and it deals with the use of VR for educational purposes. Interactive experiences are important. Field trips and labs are one form of this, as in virtual reality. Field trips are a multimedia experience and allow for an enriched learning environment. It's an opportunity for students to view the material in a real-life setting, rather than an abstract idea in the classroom. Students tend to learn better in short, engaged cycles rather than long lectures. However, the problem is that there is an absence of hands-on learning in schools. There is no access to vital educational experiences in a universal setting. Low-income schools lack funding, there's a shortage of volunteers, and traditional lectures do not hold students' attention. Our solution is to provide low-income schools with Oculus Go headsets that mimic field trips and labs. It is a one-time purchase of the devices, and that makes it a relatively inexpensive alternative to field trips. The headset will come with a pre-programmed with a virtual field trip and a lab. An additional benefit is that students would be able to explore places that are not otherwise accessible, like inside the human body, Mars, or the International Space Station.
Teachers would check out the headsets from the school library, much like the Computers on Wheels system already in place in some schools. The lecture would then be transformed into an interactive learning experience using the headset. Students would be kept engaged and excited by the technology, and educators would be able to make their own content and share it online. But only educators and industry professionals would have this capability to ensure that the content is appropriate, valuable, and accurate. Phase 1 of this project would be the research phase. This phase consists of measuring the ability to effectively conduct lessons using the VR device. This includes assessing student reception, teacher reception, and levels of comprehension to ensure efficacy of the project. Phase 2 is development and testing. In this stage, the default programs and the customizable and shareable capabilities are developed. The programs would then be tested following the same guidelines detailed in the research phase.
The next phase is the implementation phase. This is where headsets are released to selected schools. The training for teachers is conducted. So at each school, a group of selected teachers would receive training on the technology from the project implementators. They would then be able to teach the rest of their colleagues. Also, use in a real lesson is evaluated to make sure the students are actually engaged and the project is successful, and bugs and errors are recorded in order to be ironed out in the next phase. So the next phase is the fine-tuning and maintenance phase. This is actually the final phase. So any problems that arise during implementation, like the bugs and errors mentioned before, are addressed and solved, and then the project is paired for wider distribution. So this is a general overview of the anticipated timeline for the project. It would run from the beginning of the school year in 2020 to 2023. So the anticipated benefits are well-rounded and enthusiastic students. It replaces memorization with application as they are experiencing the content in a real-world, real-life setting. It minimizes planning and maximizes participation, as if they were to go on an actual field trip, some students might not be able to, get their permission slip signed or pay the fee that goes with going on a field trip. And it is a cost-effective approach because the headsets are a one-time purchase, but field trips are yearly expenses.